Hello there, it's me, Sari, and I'm sorry, but it's been quite a while since I was here to showcase my makes or pieces of art or home decorations or Christmas cards or whatever you want to call them. But now I'm here. It's 2022, Christmas Eve actually, and I'm soon heading off to work. But I thought I'd just show you the things that I've made in December. I sort of got into a groove, and the last week I've really been aching to make more makes. And I started off with this, and I must say that I'm heavily inspired by Melina Dahl with this card. She had a beautiful mixed media card, and I really felt like this was something that I wanted to get myself going with. So what I've done here is I've used a stencil in the background from Finnabear. I'm not sure I remember the name, but I could link to the blog post because I have everything there. So you can just go there and change the language to whatever language you fancy and read and even find most of the items that I'm showing here in my webshop, Sari's Stamping Studio. So welcome there if you haven't been there before. So this is it. It's a big old snowflake from Picket Fan Studios. And then there's a lovely word circle die that I've used there with a Swedish saying God jul och gott nytt år, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And then I've used some shrink plastic silver color to shrink down a really large Merry Christmas saying from Gummiopan. Let's see if I can find it quickly here. I wasn't as prepared for this as I wanted to, as I realize now. But I just wanted to see the amazing things you can do with shrink plastic. And I've just used an embossing folder to do it. But are you ready? Look at the size of this. So this is the die that I cut out of shrink plastic and shrunk it down with my embossing tool. You could of course also put it in the oven, I think 130 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what it makes in Fahrenheit, but look at that. So if you have a mega die or something that you want to use as a smaller size, shrink plastic could be it. You can actually go for that. And I've used some glitter paste in the background, as well as pumice stone, or perhaps was it hickory smoke that I used as a grey spray to sort of accentuate, I'm not sure, enhance the pattern of the stencil and the texture paste that I've used. There's a little bit of string there as well, and I used some glitter on top of that shrunken down piece. So I really like this card. I'm so thankful that Melina made that video for it. So I'll see if I can put that link for her video down there so you can see what I mean. Then I went ahead and they're making some cards, and I'm showing you these in a random order. But still, since I have those slimline cards here, I thought I'd just showcase you this one. This is also something I was inspired to do by, could it be a Polish girl or Russian or Yugoslavian, something in Europe. I believe her name is Anna something, and I'll find her link. Or no, I haven't got a link. It was a picture actually that I saw on Instagram. But here I used a texture folder from Nelly Snellen, and I die cut this wreath looking thing from Gummiopan 3 times and I glued it together. Then there is a thick candle there from Marianne Design. And then I'm absolutely in love with these poinsettia flower die sets from Gummiopan. I've also die cut some leaves and snowflakes and branches and things, even holly leaf there. And this is something actually from Tim Holtz's wonderful, could it be Christmas greenery or something, greens set, and I die cut it out of funky foam or fun foam, so it has got some, it doesn't weigh much, but it's lovely to have there. And then one of my trademarks is absolutely using a sort of a water droplet in the center of a flower, as well as I'm putting them here and there. And then I've used a sort of a droplet from Marianne Design, I believe. Could it be the snowflake or just the clear thingy there. So this is something I fancy doing, but sometimes I just have to look at a video on YouTube. And there is another girl called Lady E, I believe she's called. And she makes really fantastic cards. I'll see if I can remember putting a link to that as well. And then along came this one. It's a beautiful angel, a Christmas angel die that I've used from Creative Expressions. And the star is there as well. So I cut out that one from Funky Foam or Fun Foam. I cut out the wings from Glittery card. And I've gone ahead with those poinsettia flowers. And I color them blue as well. Because this card is going to a girl called Usha. And she's created a group that's called Dennis Engel Projektet. And she's doing her best to raise some money for Dr. Dennis in, let's see, Congo, Kinshasa, where women are raped, tortured, and children as well. So it's a horrible situation that Usha is trying to make their world a little bit better. And I think that an angel like this could be something that she can keep inspired by, keep being inspired by to make something. And then I made some wreath cards. I actually started off with this one. I made the wreath out of gummiåpans. Yet again, I've been really using the gummiåpan dies this time. And this is a big pine branch die. And then these are actually in two directions. You can get one of each if you want to. And I started off making a wreath, just having it loosey and goosey like this. And then I just saw in my mind that, oh wow, it could be fun having these sort of cotton wood pieces. I'm not sure what to call them now. And I wanted to decorate the wreath. But somehow the fluffiness of it got lost because I was gluing things down to it. But let's move ahead. I used a big embossing folder from Spellbinders. Knock on Wood, it's called. Wonderful. And I wanted to create this rustic look. So that's all right. Then I used a big, funky God Jul, Merry Christmas in Swedish, die from Gummiåpan again. And I think I've cut it out of Funky Foam, and I've glued it down onto some paper as well. And I've done some stickles glittering there. I've also cut out some stars and saffron buns. I'm really crazy about saffron buns, especially here for Christmas. And well, that's basically it. It's sort of a simple card, although it does take some time when you are cutting out and coloring these pine branches. And then, since I wasn't feeling 100% happy about it, I wanted to recreate the wreath, and I wanted to make something out of it that I could feel sort of proud of. So I went ahead again with the Knock on Wood embossing folder, and I die cut with those large pine branch thingies. And what I've done is actually I've made a circle using two circle dies. So I have something to fasten these branches on. And I've used a tiny attacher stapler to just fasten them because I want them to be fluffy and puffy like this. And then I used the same sort of a berry twig from Tim Holtz again. Could be the Christmas greenery or something. And then I also have cut out some holly leaves. And I could believe that perhaps these are as well in the Tim Holtz's Christmas greenery die set. And then I wanted to use some golden letters. And I knew that if I'm going to put gold on top of this sort of honey, light brownish wood grain thingy, it will be lost. So I wanted to enhance it and make it pop up a little bit. So I just used a strip of vellum to glue the letters down there. And I just wanted those branch bits to poke through the openings of the letters. And this is also a die set from Gummiåpan, God Jul. Very fancy looking font there, I must say. So let's move ahead to something smaller. Let's see if I can make this work. Here is something again from Gummiåpan, and I started off just by using a leftover piece of paper that I had from previous projects. And I dragged on some brown inks, distress inks, regular inks, distress inks, through a stencil that I called wood grain from Gummiopan in this case. And then I die cut this long torn piece of paper, and it has the lines and everything. So Gummiopan does make really fantastic dies, I must say. And I wanted to keep this card in a monochrome state, apart from the heart, which is red there, of course, and the white letters there. And I just colored this one in brown color, put on a sort of a baker's twine there. But before I go ahead, I have done some shrink plastic shrinking on that round decoration there as well. And I've shrunken down the Good Jul sentiment or statement out of funky foam. You can actually shrink down fun foam as well. So it's a good tip for you to have. And then we have this lovely gnome there, which I've die cut and just kept in a sort of a pumice brownish color. So it's a cute little card that can stand on its own. Really nice to make, I must say. Somewhere in between, I felt like making a bird card, bird on a branch card. And this is where I started using metal papers, and I really, or was it here? I'm not sure. Perhaps no. You know what? This is where I started using metal cardstock. I really wanted to use this rectangular doodle rectangle from Gummiopan. Everything here is from Gummiopan, by the way. And I do have some shapes here. One just regular rectangle and then a scalloped one there. Also the candles are from Gummiopan, and the branches and the Good Jul statement. And I've done some shrink plastic thingy there with those holly branches. You can see them. I think I'll just keep the card here for a little bit before I move further, because then you can see these in the proper size. And I've done some stenciling, light stenciling, mind you, with a stencil from Gummiopan. And I sort of made it work with the pattern cohesive from the background to the front piece. And then there is a little bit of metal wire there as well, which I've stapled there because it's difficult to fasten these without having the glue or adhesive showing. So I'll just keep that one there. And then I could move on back to this one. And this is where I wanted to go on using silver mirror cardstock this time. And I wanted to use that cute little bird, put it on a branch. And here is also something with shrink plastic. This one is much bigger in real life. And then there is the metal thread there, or wire, to keep it all together. I've cut out a branch, put on a pine cone, and just colored the bird in really easily. Let's see if I could show you what I've done. Let's see if I've done, because here I have, you know what? I can see here that I do have the Good Jul statement in its original size here. So you see, it's really fabulous to be able to shrink down the images that you have. So you could stamp them or you could die cut them. I do both, really. So let's see, what am I looking for? Yes, I'm looking for the bird sort of stencil that I made, and I wanted to keep or hold on to it. So I die cut the piece here like so, and then I put on some low-tack tape in the background in order to have an easier way to color the birds and the pieces in, because otherwise it's going to be rather fiddly. So that's what I've done, coloring those in like that. Let's see if I can put that one away again. And then I felt like making something completely white, and I mean white on white, nothing silver apart from the glitter stickles. But here I've used a wonderful sort of a Christmassy square frame with twigs and leaves and everything. And then there is a sort of a circular thing there from Gummiopan, which is just in one layer. And there's another circular thing here with some twigs. Even that one is just one layer, and everything is mounted with 3D foam squares. And then there's the Good Jul thing but in a smaller size. And this actually is in a smaller size from the get-go. So there are 2 sizes to that one. God jul. And then there's a beautiful snowflake embossing folder paper in the background. So that's it. Somewhere in between, I felt like doing this. This is a fantastic God jul, Merry Christmas die that I've embossed with gold embossing powder. I think 3 times, 2 or 3 my goodness, 2 or 3 times, in order to get this luxurious, fantastic effect. The red snowflake there is die cut from lawn fawns snowflakes, and I've cut it out, I think, 3 times, glued it together. And then I found some sort of a ledger paper in my stash, and I wanted to use that. And that sort of made me go in the red direction. And I did some stamping with a text stamp, and I just intentionally stamped it off on this paper just to give it some character. And I matted it with some beige reddish paper and some craft cardstock, and I've cut these shapes out with some slimline dies from Crealise, and then put it on a regular sort of a paper that I cut to have a nice sort of a border around everything, and a string. I love using jute string, and in this case I just put it on in this direction. Usually I go this direction. And then there are some lovely matte half pearls that I put it there as well. So it's a rather simple card, but I think I like it. So here's another card where I used the silvery metal or mirror card, and this is where I fell in love with the poinsettia flower die set, absolutely. And I've used the long torn paper die there as well as another slimline thingy there from Gummiopan. Here is something from Crealise yet again with a cross stitch edge with those slimline dies, and here is I think you could call it deckled edge or something, and I've made it into a card base shape as well. So this one is standing, could it be a top folded card? And I've done the same thing here with the God jul. I've stamped it on shrink plastic, die cut it with a label die which already had those holes in, put some metal wire there just to sort of tie it together and keep it in place. And I've put on some stickles on the top layer of the poinsettia flower there. And then when I saw this moose or elk die from Gummiopan, I just felt like I had to have it. And I really fancied it, and I wanted to make something out of it. And now I finally did. And I actually went back to my beginning, my roots, where I wanted or loved making special or fun fold cards. This one is an easel card, and I like it because you can pack it flat, you can send it in a regular envelope, but you can also make it a statement piece on your mantelpiece or perhaps something like that. Gummiopan has got 2 stencils with different shapes with dots around it, so it's easy to create a background. I've die cut the God jul also out of a golden mirror cardstock, and as well as the moose. Then I've used a die from Gummiopan which just pierces the paper. It doesn't cut it, it just pierces it. And then I've found a small open scallop square there which I've die cut, and then there's a chevron shape which I've also cut out. And it's nice to have the sizes go sort of interlocking or nesting sizes. And I've done the same thing. I've cut the same sort of dies once more, and I put a small greeting which says a greeting in Christmas time, en hälsning i juletid. And then I cut out these lovely fragilis die from golden cardstock there as well. So that's fun to make. Let's see if I can go back to my roots and start creating these fun fold cards again. Who knows? So this is the final piece which I'm going to blog tomorrow. And you can see that I've also used the poinsettia flowers and the pine twigs And I've gone ahead with another wonderful texture fade or embossing folder from Spellbinders, which is called, Winter's Lodge, Ski Lodge or something like that. I put on some Stickles glitter glue on the poinsettia flowers there. This is something that I have in my stash, this rectangular snowflake frame, which I've cut out of some sort of a silvery mirror metal cardstock. I used something else to cut out the pine twigs, some other kind of mirror card. So you can see there's a difference in them. And then I cut out the holly leaf, which I was talking about before, out of silver glitter paper. And you can see the difference in size, can't you? So it's fun to be able to shrink them down with the shrink plastic. And what else have I got here? Well, I die cut it out of vellum as well as the flowers. They are die cut out of vellum, and I absolutely love the effect that vellum gives. And I've mounted the different layers with 3D foam squares and glued everything down with my glue gun, because it was hell really trying to make these stick. It didn't work. So the vellum is too slippery or something. It took ages and it didn't dry up. And I also wanted to show you, I was playing around with the glitter cardstock as well for making a poinsettia, but I just felt like the vellum flowers really made this a showstopper. But what I see now is that I do have the 3D foam tapes showing this, and perhaps I need to do something there because I think that it's going to drive me crazy. I put on 2 rows because I wanted the flowers to be able to pop from the center. I didn't want them to sink in and sort of feel flat in there. So that's where I'm at when it comes to creating, and I'm sort of I got my mojo on, I must say. So making cards, making everything is really, really fun. So I hope I'll be back soon. And you know what? I forgot to tell you something. I must have forgotten. Where is it? Yes, it's a different card, so just forget about it. Yes, I'm up with in the game. So here it is, the final piece. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope that 2023 is going to be a better year. Let's hope. Keep fingers crossed. Bye-bye.